is alpha particle? It is nothing but it is a helium nucleus, which we say that it consists of your 2 protons and 2 electrons. So immediately we could conclude that m value for your alpha particle will be equal to 4. And alpha particle has a charge of +2. Hence, if I calculate E by m for your alpha particle, it comes to be +2 by 4, which will be equal to 1 by 2. And in the given option, if you feel that you are very much sure about any of the option to be right, do not waste time, because time is also very important. And we have to finish the number of questions within the given time. So when I say a proton and a neutron, we could analyze what could be the E by m ratio. So alpha particle and deuterium, if you see, alpha particle we have calculated it to be 1 by 2, and deuterium, it is well known that it is 1 by 2. Hence our option will be an alpha particle and a deuterium. When we say the next question, that is your ratio of specific charge of E by m proton and of your alpha particle, this is also based on the same concept. Hence we could, or you could solve it based on your first question concept itself. Because E by m of your proton, we will get it to be equal to, as you know, it will be, it is going to be equal to 1 by 1. And your E by m for alpha particle, as we have calculated, it is 2 by 4. So you could say it as 1 by 2. Check in the option, which is, so we could get it to be equal to as 2:1 ratio, because they have asked proton to that of. That is very important, because immediately we will think of marking 1:2, but it is proton to that of alpha particle. It is not proton to alpha particle. Hence, our option should be D. This is also a simple question. Heavy water molecule made from this. What is the molecular weight? You can just calculate. When you calculate for your heavy water molecule, it is simple. I think they have given it as H2 and 3. So you could multiply that as 2 into 3 plus 18, which will give you 24. So let us mark that, save, and next. For which of the following process energy is observed? For which process do we require energy, or energy is being observed? So you should know a fact that energy is always needed to overpower the forces of attraction between your oppositely charged particle. It is oppositely charged particle. So which one is oppositely charged particle here? If I look at the option, it is electron, electron, proton, proton, electron, neutron. So it is 100% sure that it should be electron from a proton. And see, the total number of fundamental particles in one atom of 6C14. One atom of 6C14. What are all the fundamental particles? So immediately we should understand that what are all the fundamental particles first. So we know that in an atom, as we have discussed, the number of what are all the fundamental particles? It is proton plus neutron plus your electron. So they have given us 6C14. So we have to calculate the total number of protons, total number of electrons, and your neutrons. So obviously 6, which is nothing but the atomic number of carbon here, so that we will take it as a proton. And the total number of your protons will always be equal to your electrons. And if you subtract these two, that is your mass number minus your atomic number, that will give you the number of neutrons. Hence you could say 14 minus 6, that is nothing but 8. Sum up all these three, that will give you the total number of fundamental particles. That means it should be 20. So our option D is the correct option. Here it says the ratio between neutrons present in carbon and silicon. Do not get panic because they have already given us the mass number of your carbon and silicon. So when we know the mass number of your carbon and silicon, it is very simple to find out the number of neutrons in it. So carbon and silicon, we know it is simple because carbon is 6C12 and your silicon, it is 14Si28. Hence, if we subtract your mass number and atomic number, that will give you the number of neutrons. Hence, 12 minus 6, 6, and this is 14. But they have asked the ratio. That means it should be in the simplest form. So, your ratio will be 3:7. But do remember, you have to cross-check whether they have asked the ratio between neutrons present in carbon and silicon or silicon and carbon, because accordingly your ratio option will change. If I say silicon to be first and carbon next, option B. But if they have asked us carbon to silicon, hence our option A should be the right option. Next is the maximum sum of the number of neutrons and protons in an isotope of hydrogen. What are all the, as we discussed, what is isotope or what is the isotope of your hydrogen? So we all know protium, deuterium and tritium. We consider it to be the isotopes of hydrogen, and it is a well-known fact that tritium has 1 proton and 2 neutrons. Hence, its nucleus will have maximum, and that is 3. It is a very simple and we all know it very easily. These here we have, suppose we say 10 to the power of minus 17 joules of light energy is needed by the interior of human eye to see an object. The photons of green light, that is lambda, is equal to 550 Newton meter needed to see the object are. We have to solve this. What they have given us? They have given us the 10 to the power of minus 17 joule of energy. Suppose we say energy needed is nothing but 10 to the power of minus 17. What is the basic formula we all know for energy requirement? We all know that energy is equal to E is equal to your hc by lambda. E is equal to hc by lambda. So energy of one photon is hc by lambda. Hence, we all know we could calculate this. They have given us as lambda to be 550 Newton meter. Hence, convert that, it is 5.50 into 10 to the power of minus 7 meter. And substitute the values in your E is equal to hc by lambda. E. So this will be 6.63 into 10 to the power of minus 34 into 3 into 10 to the power of 8 divided by your 5.5 into 10 to the power of minus 7. If you calculate this, you will reach to 3.616 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joule. So this is nothing but the number of, but this we have calculated is energy of one photon. Hence, let us assume the number of photons to be equal to n, and energy of photons, you know, it is E is equal to Ne. Hence, you can say n into, we have calculated for one photon, so 3.616 into 10 to the power of minus 19. If you solve this, you will get your n value to be equal to 28. So in the similar way, we could solve the questions, save the answer, and if you give n test, it will show you the result. Since we are lagging time here, I am just going to end the test and show you how the page looks and where we could refer the right answers. Because it was a 30 minutes test. So if we end the test, this green color indicates that we have answered the question and that is right. And orange color indicates that I have not attempted those questions. Hence, it is in orange color. But if we click on each question, that will give an explanation as well as the right answer. You could see those explanations and learn that. Here we are having the explanation of the question. That is your answer and this is your right option. Hence, we could refer to each question. Since this test we shall solve question number 9 again. Okay. What does it say? A photon or 300 Newton meter is observed by a gas and then re-emits two photons. One re-emitted photon has wavelength of 496 Newton meter and the wavelength of second re-emitted photon is. We have to find out the wavelength of your second re-emitted photon. That is important. How should we solve that? We know that energy of your photon observed. How do we calculate that? It is total energy. It will be equal to your E1 plus E2. And energy formula, we know it is Hc by your lambda. So when we say two different energy, let us consider Hc by lambda 1 plus your Hc by lambda 2. Hc by lambda 1 by your H plus your Hc by lambda 2. Since in this given values, we could ignore or we can take out that and cancel because it is going to be same. Hence, we have 1 by lambda is equal to 1 by lambda 1 plus 1 by lambda 2. If we say it is value they have given us 1 by 300 is equal to 1 by 496 they have given us and we have to find out this. So let us assume this to be x or have it as lambda 2, doesn't matter. Solving this, we can calculate the value of lambda and when you calculate this, you will get it to be equal to 759.183 Newton meter. Hence, let us see which option is right in this 759. We are getting option A is correct. Okay. Next question says, which of the following does not characteristics X-rays? So we have to understand that they are asking us, it should not be the characteristics of our X-rays. So from the given option, we know what are X-rays. X-rays are nothing but it is an electronic wave and it will carry no charge. So immediately from that we can understand that deflected by your electric or magnetic field should be the right option, because we know that X-rays are nothing but it is an electronic wave, and it is it is not going to carry any charge. Why do we study photoelectric effect, or what is the use of studying your photoelectric effect? So study of photoelectric effect, if we talk, it is important step for understanding the quantum nature. This study is important for understanding the quantum nature of the light and electrons, and this will be basically, it can be influenced by the formation of the concept of your wave particle, that is your duality. And the photons of light beam, it is going to have the characteristic energy, and that will always be proportional to the frequency of light. And all of the energy that we are going to study from one photon, that should be observed, and it is always used to liberate one electron from the atomic bonding. Hence, we could say that if the photon energy is observed, sum of energy liberates the electron from the atom, and rest it will be contributing to the electron's kinetic energy. So we can conclude from this that the radiation energy observed is, it is used to always overpower the effective nuclear charge. It is effective nuclear charge and importing the velocity of an electron. So if we check into the option, it should be, which option we are going to mark it here? It should be conservation of energy. So what does the photoelectric effect show us? As we have discussed now, what should be analyzed from our photoelectric effect? Photoelectric effect will always tell you about the evidence of the particle nature of an electron. So from the given option, it is particle-like behavior of your light, because it is going to give us the particle explanation or details about the particle nature of the electron. The next question is work function. They have given us the work function for a metal is 4 electron volt, and to emit a photon electron of 0 velocity from the surface of the metal, we have to calculate the wavelength of incident light. What should be the wavelength of incident light? What they have given us, 4 electron volt. So we know that it is, your 5 is equal to h nu, or we can say it as hc by. So we could say lambda naught is equal to your hc by 5. And you know, in this, h is nothing but your Planck's constant. Your c is speed of light. So it is very simple to substitute each of your value, and you could calculate the work function of the metal. They have given us work function of the metal to be equal to 4 electron volt in the question. This value, if you calculate it, it is approximately equal to your 1240 electron volt. And this will be, this they have given us 4. Hence, if we solve this, you will get around as 310 nanometer, or you can say 3100 angstrom. So in this given option, D is the right answer. Next question, if we say, if the total energy of an electron in an hydrogen-like atom in an excited state is this, then the de Broglie wavelength of electron is. They have asked us the de Broglie's wavelength. If you refer in the sheet, you will have the formulas related to the which we require in order to solve the question. All the formulas are available here. We are having the different formulae which we have used right now in order to solve the question. So it would be helpful for you to give a quick revision. So we were doing the question as, if the total energy of electron in a hydrogen-like atom in an excited state, they have given us minus 3.4 electron volt. So we know the formula as your total energy is equal to minus E square by 2 Rn, and this they have given us minus 3.4 EB, which could be equal to E1 by your N square. So from this we could calculate our N square value, which is minus 13.6 divided by minus 3.4, hence it should be equal to 4. So your N value will be equal to 2. Velocity, we all know it as your, so we can say that it is 2.18 into 10 to the power of 8 divided by 2 centimeter per second. And finally, you can substitute in your basic formula as your H by mu. If you substitute all the values required for this substitution, because everything is available here, this is 6.6 into 10 to the power of minus 27, and this one is known, 9.108 into 10 to the power of minus 28, and U we have calculated, it is 2.18 into 10 to the power of 8 divided by 2. If you solve this, you will get an answer to be equal to 6.6 into 10 to the power of minus 10. So our option is A, 6.6 into 10 to the power of minus 10. The last question is, assuming the velocity to be same, which subatomic particle will possess smallest de Broglie wavelength? Ratio of your mass of proton and alpha particle. We already calculated for a question, and that was equal to 1:4. And mass of electron compared to your proton and alpha particle, it is almost, or it is always considered to be the negligible one. And de Broglie wavelength, we know the formula, it is H by mu. So since de Broglie wavelength, from this you could analyze that we can say it is inversely proportional to 1 by, wavelength is inversely proportional to 1 by m. So from this, what should we conclude? It is inversely proportional. That means heavier the particle, lesser the wavelength. Since it is inversely proportional, we could conclude that heavier the particle, lesser the wavelength. Hence, it will indicate you that the particle which is possessing the smallest de Broglie wavelength should be your alpha particle. Let us see if it is there in the option. Yes, your option C will be the right one. So we have completed the test and hope all the questions we have solved it. So once on clicking end test, it will give you the list which one we have attempted to be right and which one we have gone wrong, which we have not attempted. So that based on it, you analyze yourself and you could take the test multiple times. You would have seen right now that first I was able to complete only 8 questions and the test got ended because there was not sufficient time. And again, I was able to take the same test and I have completed it. In the same way, you can also take the same test multiple times unless and until you feel confident in each question. You could keep taking the test till you reach all the 15 questions to be correct. So I'll catch you up tomorrow again with the same chapter, but still in detail because there are few concepts which I am yet to complete.